Hey everyone, Matron here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary, this time another series from the Black Dragon League. This is going to be a PvP featuring WhiteRa spawning as the red Protoss, and his opponent will be NightEnd spawning as the blue Protoss. We're spawning in cross positions here on Lost Temple, and this is the old school Lost Temple, so it does have this island base, and it does not have those backdoor rocks to your natural anymore. So this old map here, playing a best of 3, this will be the first game, and really be interested to see what WhiteRa has in store for us in this PvP. He's a very strong player, an old Brood War pro from the Ukraine. NightEnd, a Romanian player, has been pretty strong in StarCraft 2 thus far, playing Slayer's Boxer in the recent TSL 3, which just happened this past weekend. Encourage you to check out those VODs on Team Liquid's site. TSL, pretty high quality tournament thus far. Been watching it off and on all weekend long. Very good production value and great watching Chill and Day 9 cast together. Husky and DJ Wheat today. So wanted to bring you this PvP, as there have been quite a few very good PvPs recently, and kind of some fun stuff to look at in the early timings of this matchup. See both players getting down that gateway about the same time, using their Chrono Boost on the well, it looks like NightEnd a little bit late on that Chrono Boost, but using their Chrono Boost pretty equally as well, and sending out their scouts. They will find that they are in close positions, so we may have quite a bit of aggression here in the early going. PvP tends to be 4 gates and sometimes 3 gates in the early going, and then whoever goes 3-gate Robo can typically get up the Colossi early on if they are able to defend against a 4-gate variation. So it looks like WhiteRa and NightEnd both getting out their gas around the same time. WhiteRa did a very nice job in the StarCraft Reddit Invitational against Minigun, where Minigun went for a quick 4-gate, a pretty strong 4-gate too. Minigun has been perfecting that 4-gate, it's quite powerful, and WhiteRa was able to hold it off with just 3 gates. And then what you want to try to do with the 3 gates versus the 4 gates is just sort of absorb that attack, defend against it, use your ramp, and then turn around and use the fact that you have both an economic or a tech advantage just because you have 1 fewer gate, and kind of take it into the mid game and win the game there. Get out Colossi a little bit earlier, as we see NightEnd, his cybernetics core finishing just a moment sooner than WhiteRa, so he's going to get the Chrono started on that cybernetics core, getting that warp gate. Both players have gotten out an early zealot, so they will be chasing around the opposing player's probe, wanting to make sure that they always have eyes on that probe. It's not going to be placing down any sort of proxy pylons inside their base or any other shenanigans. WhiteRa getting out the second gateway, and the first gateway is producing a Stalker. Both players pretty similar at this point. And it looks like WhiteRa getting down 2 additional gateways, so he's going to be on 3 gates at this point. Needs to add another pylon here. Actually, WhiteRa going for 4 gates, but he will be sideblocked momentarily. He's going to have to cut probe production if he does want to produce another Stalker. It looks like he will. And it looks like NightEnd just producing the 3 warp gates at this point in time. He's a little bit farther ahead in his warp gate tech, as he did get out that cybernetics core a tad earlier, but it looks like WhiteRa is going to be the one being the aggressor in this case. NightEnd bringing forward his first zealot and his Stalker here, trying to get down a pylon, and he will be placing down that pylon. And this may be a bit of a feint, trying to fake like he's going for a 4-gate, put WhiteRa back on the defensive. He just only does have these 3 gates. His warp gate tech will be finishing momentarily. It's at 127 of 140. But it looks like this pylon's going to go down, and he's going to actually cancel that. So WhiteRa is going to have these 4 gates and the warp gate tech in just a moment. He has no forward pylon. So NightEnd getting out a robotics facility, only about 20% of the way done, but he does have out that all-important sentry, placing that pylon right at the top of the ramp there, so he can immediately get reinforcements as he does try to defend against this attack. It looks like WhiteRa not being very aggressive with this 4-gate. In fact, he's getting up a second gas, and he may be transitioning into an expansion here as he does place down that Nexus. So I believe that he had read that his opponent was going to have 4 gates as well, so he was going to just try to play a little bit more defensive here, take a risk, try to get up this expansion. And NightEnd is going for this robotics facility, so we will not be moving out with much aggression in the early going here. Just right now trying to defend against this 4-gate pressure, but it's not really coming from WhiteRa at this point. He does have this Zelnago tower in the center of the map, so he does have firm map control here. And he's also going to have a few units so that no probes can slice in here and try to place down a pylon. He is getting up a Twilight Council as well, so we will have Blink on the way. Blink, one of the many variations you can go off of a 4-gate or a 3-gate in the early going, and it can be quite good against this robotics facility, as Blink really allows you to micro quite well with those stalkers. PvP already a very intense micro fest. As you do get into these small numbers of units, being able to pick off a stalker or an extra zealot or two can be huge in the overall game. So Blink really going to allow WhiteRa to extend his advantage in the micro war here, as he does have these stalkers protecting this watchtower, and NightEnd now going to be pulling back, and again seeing those stalkers preparing for an attack, spreading these units out. He does have that sentry, he's going to have a few force fields, and he has this immortal as well, which is going to be very powerful against these stalkers. But once you get enough stalkers, they're able to take down those immortals quite quickly, and these stalkers which do take hits are able to blink backwards. WhiteRa does have up this expansion. He has 28 workers to the 30 of NightEnd, but he does have them working a little bit more efficiently off of these multiple mineral patches. And at this point it looks like Blink should be just about done getting up a robotics facility, and now we'll be moving in here for a little bit of pressure. He's taking the wide angle so no more shots can be taken on his stalkers as they do approach the ramp, and he's going to take a few pot shots here, get a count of the number of units which NightEnd does have, and he's actually going to get a sneak peek at the Colossus here as it will shoot down from above. And WhiteRa is going to be very mobile with this 9-pack of stalkers, and we see that NightEnd going for the power units here, the Immortals and the Colossus, and it looks like he's getting out another Immortal, not going for that Colossus. He's going to be able to get out a few more gateway units. Just working off this one base, it's quite difficult to produce Colossi non-stop, as well as keep those warp gates on cooldown. So instead going for those Immortals just a little bit cheaper, and they are very good against the Stalkers. The Stalkers of WhiteRa here doing a nice job taking a few shots at NightEnd's army and showing the blink tech there and blinking backwards. Again, he's going to be able to be very aggressive with blink or very defensive with blink. Just an exaggerated bit of micro he's going to be able to do. Anytime he feels like he's in a solid position, he can blink after retreating units of NightEnd, or if he feels like he's in a lesser position army-wise, he can actually blink backwards and avoid the confrontation until he feels a little bit more comfortable. We do see an observer out for WhiteRa, so he's going to get absolute count on the number of units which his opponent has. It looks like NightEnd trying to catch these blink stalkers, but it's going to be quite difficult with their mobility. Now it looks like WhiteRa is going to be in position here with this observer to blink up here and perhaps take down a few important pylons, maybe even this production structure or two, as he does get the blink up here. At the same time, he's going to be in the mineral line with about 4 stalkers trying to do a bit of economic damage. He's going to be focusing down that robotics, and it does go down, losing a stalker or two, and now finally losing, or actually he's still got up these stalkers in the back of the mineral line, trying to take down a few of these probes. Not doing a very good job focus firing down the probes though. The stalkers were taking pot shots at the army of NightEnd, and he was not able to take down any more units there. Now we see these stalkers of WhiteRa focusing down pylons. It looks like he was able to take down one right there, so just being quite a pest here with those highly mobile blink stalkers. Back in his base, he is adding on 2 more gateways, so he'll soon be on 6 gates, which will easily be supported by these 2 bases here. Getting pretty high on the chrono boost there, and he is not actually producing any more probes, so it looks like 34 to 29. He still has the advantage. They're still mining a little bit more economically as they are, or efficiently as they are spread out over all of those mineral patches. And now we see the mobility of WhiteRa, and it's going to be against the power units of NightEnd. Look at all these Immortals here. 4 Immortals as well as a Colossus. Going to be very powerful against those Stalkers. And WhiteRa just using these highly mobile forces here. We do see that NightEnd has placed down a pylon in the southern region there. So he does have that up and running if he wants to perhaps push out with some aggression. But at this point he's sort of being controlled by WhiteRa, as WhiteRa is just sort of sitting outside of his base with this observer. NightEnd has to sit in here and be very defensive. Now it looks like he may be pushing out, perhaps with some split forces defending. Now he has blink up of his own, and WhiteRa going to try to focus down all these stalkers, and it looks like he is going to be able to do that. He did lose that observer, as the observer of NightEnd has come out. Now we see that the zealots of WhiteRa was able to take down that pylon in the southern area. If we check the the production. It looks like charge is finishing for WhiteRa, so now he's going to have these blink stalkers as well as these charge lots taking on the forces of NightEnd here. Charge lots coming in from the south, and they're able to get in on these immortals as well as the Colossus there, take them down quite easily. If we check the army tab, it is 2100 to 1700, so WhiteRa at the disadvantage here. But it looks like he does have those 6 gates, so he's going to have the superior production facilities. He's warping in more and more units. Those charge lots just ripping apart these immortals. And it looks like WhiteRa there just using the very fast units, the charge lots and the blink stalkers there. Very mobile, basic gateway units against the powerful units of NightEnd. NightEnd not going to have a lot of units coming out of these production structures. He is stuck on one base here and having to give the GG. So WhiteRa going for that 4 gate at the very start. He transitioned into another base there, got a blink. He was very annoying with that blink. He had multi-prong attacks working into the side of the base of NightEnd. He was able to take down their robotics facility, stop the production of those Colossus, as well as the Immortals, and he was able to do a little bit of economic damage there, and at the same time he just had firm map control the entire time. NightEnd was not able to leave his base for fear of those blink stalkers, and at the very end those charge lots able to come in and even up the score a little bit, plowing through those immortal shields, and eventually the 6 gates, the superior production of WhiteRa, he was able to kind of just roll over the forces of his Protoss opponent here and take game 1 in this best of 3. If you're looking for game 2 of this best of 3 between these two great players, check out my channel Matron StarCraft at youtube.com. Thanks for watching this one. Take care.